Hi, and welcome to Empower Tomorrow. I'm your host, Kendall Goldenson, and today I'm here with Nathan, and we are going to dive into this idea of empowering yourself to keep going. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much. We'll get started rocking and rolling. So, I know that we've had a lot of conversations in the past, really just like reflecting on our lives, especially our childhood, and how that's really made an impact on who we are today. And so I think your background and your story has a lot to offer to people to keep on going. And so just and however deep you want to get, short, long, how do you see your past childhood currently impacting you today? Like, what were those moments?
Yeah, I would say my childhood was not like I would say, average childhood. Both my parents are immigrants. My mom's from Kazakhstan. My dad's from Tajikistan. No, scratch that. My dad is from Kazakhstan and my mom's from Tajikistan. So they grew up in very different cultures, very different from, I would say, like American day-to-day lives. And they also had us at a really young age, in their early 20s, around our age. And so I've been able to see their spiritual growth, their mental growth, and their overall just growth within themselves. And it's just been such an inspiration for myself. Like my parents were hustling in their 20s and, starting a family at a young age and after college was definitely not easy. And um, I'm just grateful that they put in their all and they truly have given us the support like to me and my siblings that we needed and involved us in our communities and you know made us uncomfortable in situations intentionally so that we could grow and learn how to be in situations that aren't necessarily the most comfortable and putting us into a really religious Jewish day school when we weren't even religious and putting us in these situations really helped us grow as individuals and figure out where exactly we want to be in life.
Yes, I think that it's great when parents kind of put you in those uncomfortable situations. Like, as a teacher, like, I see kids going into those uncomfortable situations. And it's hard, life is hard, but I feel like when you go through those obstacles and those experiences, you end up in, like, this other side of the rainbow, and you're just so much more empowered, and I think that really is rooted in this idea that, like, we had to be comfortable in, like, the uncomfortable. And how do you see yourself being comfortable in those uncomfortable stages growing up, being in a religious day school when you're not religious? How do you see that impacting you now, having those opportunities and experiences?
I think a lot of it has to do with our body language, the way we present ourselves, even when we speak, makes a significant impact on a situation, our interactions, and the way people perceive us. For example, I can give today. I didn't even know I had a presentation due this morning, and I walk into class, I have nothing ready, and right away I just got to work, got the presentation done. By the time it was my turn, I got up, did my presentation, did what I needed to do, and presented incredibly in front of the audience. And it's those situations where I'm able to just have that shift in mindset and I'm able to lock in and bring up my confidence is what's able to help me manage those uncomfortable situations and be confident and be, my best self regardless of what is going on in that situation.
Yeah, and so I would love to like dig deeper in like that mindset shift. Like, how do you walk in there and be like, I have this mindset and I just like need to shift it to be the best version of
Hmm.
myself. Like, can you like walk me through like what are those steps? Because I think when we are looking to empower ourselves to keep on going, having that structure and those steps allows us to take the knowledge like that you have and find ways to bring it into our
Hmm.
lives. So like what are those steps for you?
I think the first mainly is having mental clarity more than anything, coming into a situation with a clear and open mind definitely helps you navigate those tougher challenges or situations. And also giving yourself a moment just to figure out the room, read the room, and see what is going on and what are the actionable steps you need to take in those moments. And, I see students walking into my classroom tired or anxious or nervous, and it really does impact the way they present their work, especially in an architecture studio where we're supposed to be able to sell our work and in an effective way. Confidence and presentation is the most important aspect. It's not even about the drawings, it's not even about the building, it's the way you present yourself, because at the end of the day, you are your own brand. And it's incredibly important that when we walk into areas um, where we're not familiar, or when I walk into a conference and I don't know anybody in the room, walking in like you own the place and that you own this space makes people turn their heads. It makes people want to approach you. You become a magnet for the people that want to talk to you, and the way that you approach. Um,
Yeah, no, I think that's literally
sorry.
like you're good. Like walking into that room and owning it through like that mental clarity and having that confidence is key. I recently was interviewed and I was like, they asked me for my inspiration. And for me, it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like literally an icon in my humble opinion. And they were like, "Why?" And I was like, she just, like, walked into the room and completely, like, owned it. Like, I wanna be that person that when I walk into a room, I am confident and that I own the room, all while being, like, 4'11", obviously, because I'm short, like, she was short. And so having that mindset, I think, relates to like what you just talked about because in order to do that, I have to have that mental clarity and that confidence. Even if I had a horrible day, I need to walk into that situation with a smile on my face and determined to get what I want. Because if you
Yeah.
have that determination, then like the world is your oyster. Like you need to believe in yourself
Mhm.
just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg did, and I try each and every day to do that. And to like, who is your inspiration when it comes to those things of like having that mental clarity and that confidence?
I think I would say, my grandparents. Obviously God is also a part of that aspect, but um, I look at my grandparents and all I see is power and strength. Them moving across the world to America as refugees and starting out cleaning hotels and working in shoe stores and everything. I have seen the confidence and appreciation that they have for the world.
Mhm.
And whenever they walk into a room and, they just light up the room, and it's truly an inspiration. And also, I think that they're the protectors of my family. And whenever I walk in a room with them, I'm extremely confident. And whether that's in a synagogue or whether that's in a family gathering, just being with them, like, I know that like they're gonna safeguard me, and they bring this energy that is really inspiring. Um, and also God, I would say I was definitely not a believer in God until like the past couple years. And as I've developed this relationship, I have found confidence in knowing that I control what I control, and then I let the rest like happen with God. And, you know, just giving myself the control that of the things that I can is really important.
I think that's so important to just understand the things that you can control, but there's also things that you can't control. And we all encounter those things. Like in my classroom, I can control what like learning targets we get through, like what standards, what lessons we're doing, but I can't control the kids that are coming in having a rough day. I can't control the child with ADHD that's like vibrating in their seat. I can't control, I could give them the tools, but it's all about understanding, and I just constantly remind myself, I can't control those things. I need to focus on the things that I can control to continue moving forward, to continue reaching my own goals, but also helping support the goals of people around me. And so, obviously, we have very different, like, backgrounds. And so what are some experiences that you have faced where you walk into a room and just have to remind yourself, "These are things that I can control, and these are things that I can't control."
Um, I can give you a great example actually.
Beautiful, let's hear it.
Um, so last summer I went to a conference where I didn't know a single person, and um I walk into this room and there's like people recording, like they're doing social media, all that stuff. I don't know a single person. I walked up to the person that I thought was the most confident, and now we're best friends and we talk every day. So I
Mhm.
just think that when you find somebody that you think is like, this is the person, or like this is the person I want to be friends with, taking the action more than anything,
Mhm.
and being like, I can control how I approach somebody. I can control my presence. I can control the room with my voice. Those are really key important things that you need to recognize. But also, the things you can't control are people's emotions. And, um, that's something that I had to learn, I think more than now through college and through personal friendships and experiences. And um, it's all about the way you present yourself, to mitigate those reactions.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that presentation, finding those people, help you really hone in on those things that you can control and you can't control, but also understanding those relationships of those good ones and those bad ones, of like what relationships are a two-way street and what relationships are a one-way street. In my mindset, I'm like, like, I can't really control which ones are which, but I can control the energy that I put into them. And so do you see with this, like, mindset of confidence and mental clarity and having this perception that you wanna be like your grandparents and you wanna walk in and be protectors of people that you love. Do you see that in different situations or relationships that maybe have those feelings of one-way streets
Yeah,
and then maybe two-way streets?
1000%. Um, I think one-sided and two-sided friendships are very complex. Um, to start, I think it's very easy to tell when a relationship is one-sided. I think more than anything, we feel it in our gut. We're like, oh, we're putting in all this effort, we're putting in all this energy. Like, why am I not getting that back? So I think that's um, kind of a determiner of like a one-sided friendship or relationship. But I also think it's about like recognizing that, and like I have like a step process of that, which is recognizing the effort you're putting in. That's step one. Step two is recognizing the effort they're not putting in. Step three is reaching out, seeing if everything's okay, checking in. Sometimes we might read things wrong, and we're all going through things, so just checking in. And four is waiting for action. So letting them now take that next step and waiting for that response and waiting for their action, because they can say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot about this," or "Oh, I'm busy with this and that." And that's real. Those are real things that happen to us, but it's those next action steps that show whether or not that relationship is one-sided or two-sided, and um and whether they want to put enough energy or care into that relationship.
No, I love those steps, and I think that's something that I will definitely take with of, like, because I do think you have to, like, go through, like, your friendships, and I mean, like, our good friend Yovel, he talks all the time about, like, those 3 different types of friendships, but we don't have to go deep into that. Um, But I think once you have that understanding of those friendships, of like, how do you keep going through those one-sided? Because obviously, there's a root cause of why you're still friends with them.
Yeah. Um, it's a difficult question. Um, I think, and this will take me a minute.
You're good.
Um, when it comes to a one-sided friendship, um, you are the person who feels that one-sided friendship is also the one that probably feels more connected to that friendship. So, um, I would say that other person in that relationship might not necessarily be thinking that it even is a one-sided friendship, because they don't care enough
Mhm.
to put that much attention to it. But also, I would say that when it comes to a one-sided friendship, it's not worth keeping. And that's like a tough thing to swallow. And it's about learning to set boundaries with people and yourself and knowing that you have to protect yourself. And if that means having a conversation with the person and saying, "Hey, I'm noticing this lack of effort, or I'm I'm feeling some distance." And if they don't have anything to say about that, you're recognizing and you're feeling, then it's not something worth keeping. But if they are willing to change, then there is room for growth and there is room for that friendship to develop and get stronger.
Yeah, I think that that has a lot of power of just like that reflection and that understanding of care. And I think there is that root of like you care a lot for other people. I know you like personally, like you're one of my best friends. And so having that care, I think comes from different places in our life. Like for me, I from the way that I grew up, um I want to care about everyone around me because I don't want anyone to feel like how I felt like
Hmm.
growing up. I mean, I felt supported in different ways, but I wanted to have that care. And so that's how I look at my friendships is I want to care for people. I want to be there for you and I will drop every single thing to support you and just showcase to you that I care for you. And so like you said like it's rooted in care. How do you showcase that when there's trouble per se in that one-sided relationship
Yeah.
or even two-sided because I think everything fluctuates. Everything has its ups and downs.
Yeah, I think showing care um is having that conversation with that person, because the fact that you want to have a conversation shows that you care,
Mhm.
and it shows that you're willing to improve, and it shows that you're willing to save this friendship or help the dynamic of this friendship change. And I just think that more than anything, communication shows that you care, and it also shows that you're willing to put time into this person and you're willing to put effort into this person. And that more than anything is the most important thing. And um, I think we all show care and love in different ways.
Mhm.
And I think the basis of that is that communication, because you can't show them your love without talking and having those conversations.
Yeah, and I think all of those things, you know, they add a lot to your life. They add a lot to your plate, ensuring that you're walking into places confident. That takes a lot of work. Constantly caring for people and having that love, even though it makes you feel good. It is a lot of work. And so I think in our current society, there's always things going on. We're busy people. And so, how do you, amongst all of these steps, especially when it comes to one sided friendships of checking in, but also going and putting yourself out there, but walking in and being confident, how do you take care of yourself? Because obviously, you can be that person to the public, but it's also important to focus on yourself, to keep yourself going. So what are things that you do to keep yourself going?
I do a lot of journaling. I write a lot. My journal's a place for me to express myself and also digest and process what happens in my day-to-day life. And it truly does take off those loads and tensions that may be in my mind. And what I also would say is giving yourself time and grace to process emotions, to process situations, um, definitely helps because um, if you don't give yourself the time to recognize something that happened to you or recognize a situation going on, then you're not giving that action or that situation the care it deserves because we deserve to give time and care to the people we love. And also, when we're thinking about them or they're going through something and we need to be there to help them, it's important that we give ourselves the time to be like, wait, this happened to my friend or this happened to a sibling of mine. Like, how am I able to be a support for them? And what is the best way I can show up more than anything? Because we may think that um, we need to show up physically or virtually or in different ways, but sometimes they might not need that. And so just being able to understand the people that you are dealing with and the people that you are having experiences with is really important. And um, I would say each of my friends, like, I take experiences differently with them and, if they're going through things, I take it it's never a one size fits all. It's very personalized and very um
Yeah. No,
uh
I agree. I think everything is super personalized to the person that you're talking to and the person that you're with. Like, I would never think of a situation and handle it for like one student that I would do for another student. I would never go through a situation and look at it in a lens for like one of my friends than another one of my friends because everybody's so different. We all have different backgrounds. And so understanding those backgrounds and that's just through like that building of that relationship with them, I think is super important to continue on and figure out like what can I do for them. But I also think kind of like reminding yourself to give yourself grace is super important. So like do you give yourself any other reminders besides just being like I need the time and I need to give myself grace? Do you remind yourself of anything else on the daily to just like keep going and putting one foot in front of the other, one smile on your face to every single person?
yeah, I mean, I would say my family definitely helps with that and just, being like my parents came so far and they've done such incredible things here and I can do better and I can do even more incredible things. And that's my main motivation is showing that like I I'm very gifted and blessed to be in university. I'm blessed to be, you know, learning the things that I'm passionate about. And, not everybody has those resources and availability to do so. And I take, like, for example, school with immense gratitude. And I take, my day to day experiences with immense gratitude because I know that people may not have those. And um, I also recognize that I'm not here to waste my time. And the things I'm doing here are important, and I want to make the biggest impact I can. Um, Not just to prove myself worthy, but to show people the kind of love and dedication I have.
Mhm. No, I think that's all great things of like figuring out ways for yourself to make an impact. And so, and I mean, that's stemming from like the impact that your grandparents have had on you, the impact that your parents have had, like working their butts off to provide for you and give you those experiences. And so, looking to the future though, like what do you hope to see yourself do to make a positive impact on your life? But I also think in this world, like everything that we do for our life also has an impact on the people around us. What
Mhm.
we do for ourselves also empowers the people around us. So, what is like one thing that you hope to do to impact yourself and the others around you?
Hmm.
It could be in any situation, like social, academic, personal.
I think for myself, I would say, is being my best self. And that's something that's really important to me is just trying to be the absolute best person I can, regardless of how I'm feeling. Um, there was somebody who said something, I don't know the quote exactly, but it goes like, regardless of the day you put in your 100%, but your 100% changes every day. So, um, whether your 100% is 70 or 40 or 90, um, putting in that maximum effort for yourself is the most important thing because if you can't show up for yourself, then you can't show up for the people in your lives. And you can't show up for the things that matter to you. And by showing up for yourself first, you are setting that foundation to do incredible and amazing things.
I agree. I think you need to show up for yourself. I mean, there's like the old saying in like schools when we're talking about kindness of you got to fill up other people's buckets, but to do that you have to fill up your own bucket, and filling up your own bucket means just being the best version of you, doing things for you. And so like for you, Nathan, how what are some things that you can do to be the best version of you? Is it waking up and journaling? Is it waking up and meditating? Is it getting closer to God? Is it just running around and just enjoying life? Like, what does that look like for you?
I think it's creating a routine. Okay, restart. Uh, I think it's establishing a routine for yourself. So, in the mornings, I usually give myself 30 minutes for myself, whether that's going on my balcony and reflecting, or whether that's um, putting on a nice outfit, or um, making myself a breakfast or something. Just doing those small things for yourself really does make an impact. Um, and I would say that, taking care of yourself is a big part of showing up for yourself, whether that's, like taking a shower every morning or doing your hair or journaling, as I said previously, or calling your mom or calling your friends and saying good morning to the person that matters to you most. Those are the ways that I'm able to take care of myself and also just start the morning with a positive mindset.
Gosh, morning routines are just literally like the best thing that made my like little executive functioning like coach like so happy because like routines are everything to just like give yourself like the organization and the tools for like your self success. But I think kind of like going back to like those things for you of just, you know, calling someone and saying good morning. I recently like read somewhere like that is like receiving that good morning like makes people's days. And so there was like some social media like thing that I saw was like I'm going to challenge you to say good morning to like someone new for like the next month. And I think that that would have been such like a powerful thing and impactful thing of like those 2 words have so much meaning, and I think our words do have meaning. And I know that I live by a mantra, and it kind of fluctuates by situations, but, like, what is your mantra?
I would say my mantra is be authentic and be you, more than anything, because when we try to be like other people, we lose ourselves in that, and just recognizing that we're all unique, we're all different, and we all have a place in this world, and that definitely is a big part of who I am.
No, I think that's great. I think being authentic and being yourself and just having that mantra and that routine and that confidence, I could see just, like, from knowing you helps you lead that life of just to keep on going, like, one day at a time, like, what somebody says to you, it impacts you, but you have so many tools in your toolkit that you utilize to just like keep on going. And I think that's so important for so many people to understand of like when things knock us down, we have to find those tools within ourselves. And maybe that's through journaling, meditating, getting closer within like your religion, finding those people, creating those routines to keep going. And I also think it's important to have that mantra to remind yourself of those things. And I think something when we're reflecting on our lives and reflecting on our lives in the past and the future, I always love to think of what would I tell my younger self? And for me personally, I would tell my younger self that like right now I would tell my younger self that I'm proud of her. Um but like back then if I was like looking at my little like 8-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever self, I would say that there's light at the end of the tunnel and you just have to keep going and you will reach that light. So, what would you tell your younger self?
I think I would tell myself two things. The first is stop caring about other people's opinions and, find who you are more than anything. And the second is I would say that you become the person that you've always wanted to be. And I am at a place right now in my life where even looking back a year ago, like this is exactly where I wanted to be. And I am eternally grateful for the work and growth that I have had to put in to be where I am now and recognizing that um, your big wins in life take time.
No, I love that. And I love the two things. I think celebrating those big wins is also important.
Mhm.
Having that understanding of like we are where we're supposed to be. And I think it's great to think of like what can I do and what can I remind myself when I'm looking at the future to like keep on going. But if you saw someone struggling on the side of the street, what would you tell them to empower them to just keep on going?
I would say life gets better the moment you care about it because the minute you start putting that care and love into yourself, you're already building those blocks up into creating a better life for yourself. Whether that's, um, if it's a homeless person on the street, whether that's, um, life gets better the moment you start to care about it. And those building blocks that you establish are incredibly important. And whether that's starting off and, cleaning yourself up and putting on a nice shirt or um, life gets better the moment you start to care about it. And when you establish those building blocks, you're able to bring yourself up and recognize the work that you're doing because for myself at least, I can now look and I can see all those blocks and just see how far I've come. And that's a big motivation for me. And to a person who doesn't really feel like themselves or they're going through something or they've reached rock bottom in their perspective, I would say just look up all the things you've done in your life and look at all those accomplishments because even if they're small, they add to you know, they add to who you are and they add to all the incredible things you've done. And also recognizing that you aren't perfect, you're human. And some of those blocks aren't good ones. And some of those definitely come from struggle and come from the pains of your life. But you learn so much from struggle that it even brings you even higher and even shows how much more you've done in your life and all of the incredible and beautiful experiences you've had, regardless of them being positive or negative, they shape exactly who you are today and they help you become your better self. Whether that's personal growth, whether that's recognizing your faults and learning from them, or whether that's um, just navigating who you are and your background, um, just recognizing that you are doing your best and you are putting in the effort, that is, more than anything. That's what I would do.
I think recognizing that is great and just telling them, like, all those things that, like, you just shared, like, it does get better the moment that you start to care, and I think that holds power to someone on the street, to your best friend, to your parent, to your grandparent, to yourself. Once you start to care and you take that step, your whole life can change for the better. Once you put that foot forward of, "I'm gonna do better for myself," to keep going, and like you kinda shared throughout, like, that's having that confidence. That's finding those things that work for you. Is it a routine? Is it meditating? Finding that aspect to continue on throughout your life is so important because there is light at the end of the tunnel. We all have so many lived experiences, and finding those ways to empower yourself, just like you, to get over it truly matters. And it's having that understanding and those reflections. And like literally, like everything you said, just being yourself and being authentic is so important. So thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And here's your reminder to keep going. Life gets better the moment that you start to care, in the wise words of Nathan.
Thank you.